Good morning, everyone. Today is March the 19th, 2021. This is StockCast, your pre-market show. My name is James Mason. With me is Todd Derby. Todd, how are you doing today?
I am doing great. Coming to an end of a good week overall. Hey, real quick, the members that are in there, drop in the comments where you're from. I always wonder where we're drawing our listenership from. So just give a little comment where you're from. It's good to know who you are. Hey, good call out on a special ticker you called out a couple weeks ago.
Man, I'm bitter about it. I am so bitter about it. God, man.
There's definitely a lesson here. Definitely a lesson.
Yes, so bitter about it. Anyways, we'll get to that in a second. So really quick, while you guys are typing in the comments where we are reaching you at, the Dow futures are currently up 45 points. S&P 500 is up 10 points. And the way it's setting up at the moment, it's looking like we're going to come out a little green in the market today, probably have a decent little run, but it is Friday. And you know how Fridays are. So keep that in mind. And remember, there's nothing wrong with taking profits. So, all right, Todd, let's talk about SNES. So I'll pull up the chart on it. All right, so here we are, ticker SNES. And I alerted this thing the other day at basically my entry would be $1.45. And I made a solid entry. I ended up having a total of 18,000 shares with an average of $1.49. So this thing overall, hold on, I'm going to zoom in. These candles are just so large, it's making everything else look small. So basically, this ticker just stayed in this channel and just chopping around back and forth, back and forth. And with 18,000 shares, that is a lot of shares. I won't deny that. I had a pretty decent profit, but just as easy that I had profit, if it would have went against me with 18,000 shares, it would have been a painful loss. So it started looking weak. I ended up putting a stop in at $1.68, got stopped out pretty quickly. And this is what, about 2 days ago, Todd? 3 days ago, maybe?
2 or 3 days ago.
Yeah. So I got stopped out at 168. I ended up saying I'd get back in at 190, and I couldn't even get in yesterday at 190 when it started breaking out. So, basically with this thing, I mean, it was getting weak. I was getting impatient with it, and in a sense, I kind of didn't follow my plan. But this thing, God, just look at the freaking chart. It just pisses me off to see this thing run up here pre-market today and hit $4.59. But for anyone who was still in that thing, man, y'all got a payday for real. It's a tough pill to swallow. I won't deny that. But hey, that's the stock market though, guys. Just remember that. This right here, I know this won't even be close to the last time that this happens to me. This is going to always happen when you trade. You'll start to see something set up, and then you just wait on it and wait on it and wait on it, and it doesn't quite break out yet. And you get to the point where just like, okay, I'm in profit. I don't want to take a loss here. And you'll take those profits. And there's nothing wrong with that at all. I took my profits. It wasn't like anything significant, but it was still pretty solid. And, it eventually did its thing and broke out the way I charted it. And, it would have been nice to get to this point. But the whole point of this is you cannot really time the market. It's impossible. You may think that something's going to break out, and a lot of times it might break out. I can make calls all day long, and my timing is pretty close to being spot on. But then there will be those trades that just linger on forever, like ticker APOP. And I am heavy in that one as well. But just comes down to, doing your due diligence, understanding what is going on with that company, what's going on with those charts, and having that conviction and just being patient. This one right here, I started getting impatient, and it did what I figured it was going to do. But yeah, so that's pretty much what I have to say about that one. Todd, do you have anything to say about it?
I think it's important to not dialing on SNES directly, but overall your trading knowledge and trading style. This is a good review or a good reflection to what could a trader done differently? Could they have sized down, a different stop? Understanding that, I know that several members took profit as I did. I took profit and I chalked up as a win. I put it in my journal and we move on. But it's always good to review what could you have done differently and apply it to your next trade or your next opportunity. And sometimes people make decisions like you got impatient, you said. I took it as a small win, moved on. Other people may need money to move they thought was going to make a move to a different ticker. There's nothing wrong with all of that. What's important at this point is to reflect and learn from it, and how can you improve yourself as a trader going forward. And if you do that over time, you're going to be a successful trader.
And I'm glad you touched on about the sizing down. So like I said, I had 18,000 shares. My average was $1.49. When I got out, I made a profit of like 3,000 some odd dollars. I could have sized down literally down to 1,000 shares and let it run its course and made the same amount of profit.
Yeah.
Just think about that, guys. I could have cut 17,000 shares out of my 18,000 share position and let that 1,000 shares go along with the plan and still made the same money. So that's just a lesson that I hope y'all can take something away from it. And I get extremely impatient, but hey, so that's the way it goes.
A couple people are asking what are our target prices on it now, and that might be a good conversation because I don't think we're going to get to $6 unless it gets heavily shorted and they get squeezed.
Yeah. So once something breaks out like this, guys, don't try to dip back in a second time. Like this thing had it ran from like 170 yesterday to pre-market for 459. Don't try to double back in and chase this for another round. I mean, it moved that much. Like just because it ran up that much, it doesn't mean it's gonna break up and go on again. When something happens like this and it breaks out and makes its move, if you're in it before the move, ride it out. And when you cash in, don't look back. So I can't say every time, but most of the time, if you try to jump back in and catch another round of it because you're greedy, you actually end up losing all of your profits. If not taking an actual loss. And there's nothing like taking an astronomical win to then take a worse loss and erase everything. So don't do anything silly like that. When you make that trade, do your thing and move on. All right, so let's look at some tickers that people are calling out.
Let's look at ticker SOS.
Ticker SOS.
Tyler, you make a good comment. Appreciate your comment in the comment box about how you make more money with smaller positions because you don't get spooked out. And there's some truth to that. When you take a smaller position and it goes red, it's easier to ride that moment out or deal with that hurdle or that bump in the road, and then you profit when it comes back. So that's a good comment, actually.
Yeah. So what's the question about SOS?
So when you put your tickers in there, give us an idea what you're asking about, other than just you just want to pull up a chart. Like, are you asking, are you long? Are you short? Are you in it? Are you not in it? It helps us answer your question more efficiently. SOS was just put in the ticker that wanted some. There was no question to it.
Okay, let's see. All right, so last update for short interest, 9.6 million shares, 7.75% of the float being shorted. Outstanding shares, 124 million shares, and that is the same for the float. So this thing got some bulk to it, but they did release news the other day, and we actually traded this one. This was a successful trade. And the news was that they added 5,000 more cryptocurrency miners. And we can see how it's moving overall. Now, personally, it's like I was just saying about SNES. I made my trade in it, made my profit, got out, and moved on. For me to really consider this thing again, I need to see this thing actually break this high right here on the daily chart. So it needs to break above 925 before I could consider going long in it again. And I'd probably look to take a target price around 1180 with probably about a stop loss at about 875. So again, that's I don't really like this setup overall. There are better plays out there. But again, this company, it does have some potential, with their business structure that they have going on with those extra 5,000 crypto miners.
Yeah, so Brian's question was he heard a lot of buzz and he's looking for a scalp play. So based on your feedback and looking at the chart, it's probably a small scalp play opportunity. Or for me, and what I mean by that is that I wouldn't go heavy. I'd just maybe a few shares, nothing big.
So looking at the VWAP, the orange line, the 9 EMA, the white line, and the 200 EMA, the green line. Overall, on this 5-minute chart, this thing is struggling. So as it stands, I'd kind of be worried that this is going to actually pull back. So if I was looking to make any play on it, as of right now, I would be looking for my setup to actually short it. And that will probably be at the break below 770, with my target price being around probably about between 760 to 755. So, just for a scalp. So if I was going to scalp that, that's what I would look for, and nail it and get out. But yeah, as it stands, I don't see anything to the long side. But hey, you don't know what the live market will bring us. So that's just what I see right here at the moment. All right. So what other tickers do we have?
SXTC, Sam, X-Ray, Thomas, Charlie. He's in at 215. He doesn't know if he should hold or sell.
All right, last update. Short interest, 327,000 shares being short, 1.78% of the float. So nothing major there. Outstanding shares, 15.5 million shares outstanding. For whatever reason, the float is 18.4 million shares. So they've clearly have been selling some shares in this company, which may not have been recently, but in the past. So let's see if there's any news on it. So I'm not seeing really any news recently, but it is still a low float overall. What was his average again?
215.
So if I was in this and my average was 215, what I would worry about when looking at these indicators, and let me look at something real quick. Yeah. So I was throwing up the TT breakout lines. The average for the TT breakout lines is 226. So we're below that. We're below the 9 EMA, the VWAP, the 200 EMA. This thing is, at least not in a moment, it's looking bearish. It's looking like it's still wanting to sell off overall. Stand by a second. I'm just looking at something. what I would personally have to see to go long in this, I'd have to see that 9 EMA cross above that 200 EMA, which would literally be right about your average. For a stop, I don't know if you're heavy in it or not, but for a stop, me personally, I'd put a stop in at 199 just to kind of give it a little bit of room. And if it could hold up, and if we could get some volume in it. Right now, we only have 1,600 shares being traded in at pre-market. But if we could actually get some volume in it, I feel like this could, work out for you. It does have a decent amount of room that it could potentially run up. But we are just coming off of that stock split right there. So that is kind of making investors and traders probably still a little weary. I mean, that just recently happened back in February. So we're literally just 1 month from the split. So if you have a smaller position here, you're very light, you might have some flexibility, but if you were like, let's say 50% or more of your account in this trade, I would very much honor that stop loss, because if this thing actually unloads, you do have potential for it to come down here and test this 150 range, and that'd be the last thing you want to do. So that is what I see with ticker SXTC. All right, let's see.
Take a look at Life, LIFE. They're looking for a potential long.
Yeah, we talked about this one. What was it? Yesterday or the day before?
Might have been Tuesday.
Okay. Yeah, so this is the one I was saying that I would make my entry. I'm pretty sure I said, you guys can correct me if I'm wrong. I'm pretty sure I said I'd make my entry at 165, if I'm not mistaken. Which would be why I had those lines there. But anyways, or maybe it was 645. Yeah, I'm sorry. It was 645. My stop loss was 565. And that's what I'd be looking for there. Man, I wish I would have. Let me see if I wrote this one down. Yeah, I actually did write this one down. Yeah. So my entry be 645, stop loss 565, my target price 12. So we did break this one down the other day. That's what I'd be looking for, and we're still way off from that, from my entry price at least. So That's just what I would look for.
Take a look at ticker AESE, Apple Edward Sam Edward. The question is, will this make a run considering how hard SLGG ran?
What was that ticker you said?
AESE, and they're comparing it to SLGG.
Let's see. Let me look at their share structure first. So share short, last update 98,000, so nothing there. Share structure outstanding 39.1 million, float 21.9 million. So this is still relatively a low float. Let me look up SLGG real quick. Okay. So SLGG had outstanding shares of 15 million with a float of 6.2 million. Literally more than half the difference in the share structure. So unless if these guys can come out with some astronomical news, I don't see it making the same run as SLGG. They're gonna need some better news than what they have going on at the moment. And currently, just looking at their news, already seen at the top, basically a investigation alert. So that always deters investors from jumping into something. But let's see. Well, what I would look for, if this thing broke yesterday's high of $3.89, I would look for it to probably make a run up to about 505 in that range. And anything beyond that would just be FOMO traders jumping in. But that is what I see on AESE.
They're also, I just in the news, they're taking a gaming experience to this mall. It's like a 3-day event, and it's a competition. I could see where this looks, but they're going to do it in Sugar Land, Texas, at the end of the month. If these things were to take off, this may be something to keep an eye on. Check out the investigation report. But as the public starts to open up, as we talked about the other day, AMC theaters are opening up. This might be an exciting opportunity, and they might get a pop from that.
Like the thing is with like how I trade, I immediately think, how's this going to make them money? That's where you need to connect the dots. Like, how is this going to bring them in revenue with them doing that? You know, what are they getting sponsors? You know, that when you're researching these companies and these events, like that could, what Todd just said, that could be a catalyst that's literally just a diamond in the rough. You need to really look into, you know, what's actually going on with this event, you know, who's the sponsors, basically overall, how are they going to make money? And that could be the key to open up a potential play here. Maybe seeing a short squeeze happen, because I'm sure once it starts moving up some, you're going to have bears trying to jump in on it, since it's not really doing anything significant at the moment, and the talks with this investigation. So I pretty much would already say that this is already on someone's watch list to the short side.
And it's a good question. They're asking, today's is Quadruple Witching Day. And the question is, how does Quad Witching Day impact the market or impact what's going on? So maybe address that as a wrap up today.
So it really just depends. There have been times I've expected it to get extremely choppy, and it only just ran bullish. And then there have been times where I expected to get choppy, and that's exactly what it was. Everything was just all over the place. And so it's just really one of those things. It just depends on the overall market and what's going on. And, you know, really, what's the confidence level of the institutional traders? They're the ones who are really going to influence all that. You know, with all those contracts expiring, are they just selling them, getting out of the trades, or are they actually, you know, converting them to shares or whatever they're trading? That's, you know, I personally feel like it's just situational. And again, when I hear everybody talking about quadruple witching, especially like on these like TikTok and shit like that, like everybody tries to make this video to get a reaction out of people. And of course, a lot of new traders are like, oh my God, this is such a huge event. Oh my God. Hey, everybody, watch out for this quadruple witching and stuff like that. Everybody just like starts running with to just talk about something to sound like they're knowledgeable about the market, and they really don't know what's going to happen or what it even really is. And you just don't really know what it's going to do with the market until it's going on. I would say, though, around lunchtime is going to be that determining factor in that range. So pretty much whatever the market starts doing around lunchtime and the next hour, if you start seeing that shift in the market, then you're probably going to experience a lot of choppiness. But again, like I said, I've waited on the market to be choppy and I've just seen it go bullish all day long.
So sometimes I feel like it's a crutch for a negative day or a negative moment. Like, today was triple witching or quadruple witching.
Yeah.
Where if you know it's quadruple witching and you know that with all these options expiring, be careful today. Don't go heavy. Be smart about your trades. Just take it a little bit slower. I know for me, I've had a great week, and I plan on trading long today. So I'll go. I think I'm going to probably go small today and just be careful because I want to get out of my desk, out of my office early today and get some things done for the weekend.
Mm-hmm. Just trade what the chart gives you. Honor stop losses.
Yeah,
that's really the only thing you can do. So, with that being said, we're gonna, just keep this episode a little chill today, and we're gonna go and wrap this one up. So, I appreciate y'all tuning in again this week, and just remember it's Friday. If you have profits, don't be afraid to lock them in. If you're experiencing losses and you don't have a plan, you may want to lock that in too, because if you don't have a plan and you're already taking losses, it's probably going to get worse. So other than that, y'all take care, and we will see y'all in the next one.